This video is going to be on again on working with Dropbox, but this has to do with the assignments and how I want the assignments to appear, and some of the standards that I'll use to evaluate whether I think you're evaluate the quality of your work. Well, let's go back over the assignment dates. Remember that there's basically two types of assignments. There's the first assignment, due before 8 o'clock on the day that the content for a module is discussed. And then there's the second assignment, if that's allowed, and that has to be completed before the week following the first assignment, okay? So we know that the assignments are due 8 o'clock, okay, on the day the module is recorded. And this is the date and time on your timeline, okay? Course timeline. The second submission, 1 week later, okay? A late assignment, that's an assignment where you didn't meet the first submission timeline, submission time, okay? You might still be able to get credit, but it depends on, the excuse that you have. You got illnesses with the kids and that sort of thing. Those things are going to be excused, okay? I forgot maybe once a semester, but if you continue to have problems of missing, you probably won't you may be allowed to submit, but you'll probably take some sort of a hit on the grade, okay? But let me remind you that any information you want to send to me through Dropbox is submitted at the bottom of that PDF file that you created when you submit to me the information associated with that particular assignment, okay? It's at the bottom. So after you answer the question, you might say excuse. Put a heading on it and then type in what it is that that caused you to be late. Okay. I'll say this several times so maybe you'll remember it, but don't submit the second submission, whether it's a late submission or whether you've just been allowed to work on it some more. Don't submit that until you've watched the recording over the content, okay? So I want that second submission to reflect what I consider to be the information you need to consider in order to do the assignment correctly, okay? So I just want to remind you of that. Keep that in mind. Always, if a recording has been made on a content that you're working on, watch it before you make any kind of submission, okay? Now, the cutoff date is the date. Well, what happens on the cutoff date is you'll no longer be able to see the activity in Dropbox, okay? I can still give somebody credit for an assignment, but it has to be, extreme situation. If you have an ongoing illness or you have a tragedy or something like that that's really wiped you out. But the problem with it is that if it's not visible in Dropbox, then we'll have to negotiate on how you do that. Usually that's done via email. You submit via email, and what you do is you send me an email message with your assignment PDF file sent directly to me that way, okay? All right, but you'll have to provide good justification for that, okay? Remember when you go to the modules assignments location within your learning module, and you see the icon, there's two dates, the beginning and the ending date, okay, are the dates when the due date is and when the cutoff dates. These aren't your dates. This is an old file, but nonetheless, it has them in there, okay? Okay, well, I'll say this again. You've heard it several times. You're going to have to read the text, and you're going to have to take, you don't have to, but I recommend you take some notes to help you remember what the content is. But you're going to view the lecture, and then you have to take your notes And I recommend that you put them on the PowerPoint slides. If not, you're going to have to submit the PowerPoint slides and then some sort of good presentation of the notes that you took after that. You're going to watch the lab DVDs and do the activities. They guide you through there. It's just like being in a lab in a classroom where your lab instructors are telling you what to do. You'll do those activities. Then you'll go to Dropbox and see what it is that you're to report to me that you did, okay, with the additional information on a piece of scratch paper or whatever, so that whenever you get the feedback back from me or the grade back from me on your assignment and your recorded information, you put that on the activity sheets that you've downloaded, and then that goes into your notebook. Okay. Then the last thing you do is you complete the quiz. Okay. By the way, I haven't gotten the links from within the module to go to the quiz, and I've got to go to OIT and work on that. But nonetheless, if you got to take a quiz, you can always go to the quiz tool and access it from there. Okay. All right. Then I want to talk to you a little bit about what I expect with the information, the quality of the information you send to me. There's more detail in this document right here that you'll find from the getting started component of the course, okay, the assignment grading policy, but I'll just kind of summarize that, okay? And, based on what you send me, your submission may or may not be acceptable. If it's not acceptable, it may be returned for further work. If I don't feel like you put enough effort, I may just give you a 0. And once I post a grade in the grade book, okay, and not return it for further work. If I post that grade, then that's your final grade on it. Okay. If you check the grade book and see that you have a grade there, then you're finished with that activity, okay? And you can move on and do the others or do whatever you need to do, okay? If you see the grade there, after your first submission, you see a grade right there, you don't have to do any more work on it, okay? If a second submission is allowed for full credit, again, look at the Collaborate recording before you submit, okay? Because I assume that when I look at that second submission, you understand what maybe problems existed, whatever, and you incorporate the new information into what I consider to be a good final submission.